Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 8th May 2022. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see today's quote. So today's quote is given by Nelson Mandela. So according to him, what is his view regarding this poverty? So poverty is one of the favorite topic of UPSC. So you can expect mains questions and even sometimes essay regarding this poverty. So please be prepared with some quotes of poverty. So according to Nelson Mandela, as long as poverty, injustice and gross inequality persist in our world, so none of us can truly rest. So he mainly said about poverty, injustice and as well as inequality. So poverty, injustice and inequality should not be there in the world. So if they are there means none of us can truly rest. So because of poverty, what happened? That will lead to other criminal activities. For example, per se, drug trafficking, arms trafficking, even what happened, robbery, dacoitry. So because of poverty. So and even injustice also, that will lead to violence, and inequality is one of the big problem. So because of this poverty, injustice and as well as inequality, so here none of us can truly rest. So this is about this quote, and now let us try to see first topic. It is regarding United Nations Security Council. So United Nations Security Council jointly backs peace bid in Ukraine. So this article which is mainly talking about peace in Ukraine. So already you know what is happening in this Ukraine. So it is more than 2 months, okay, Russia which mainly attacked this Ukraine, and this image that you can see on the screen. So it is nothing but, so this is a very important residential area in Ukraine's Donetsk region, okay, and this region is appearing like this after missile attack, okay. So there was a vast destruction that is mainly seen here, right? So because of this, now United Nations Security Council which mainly talks about peace in Ukraine. So this article is important from your GS paper 2 point of view, which mainly comes under your international relations. So if you see context, it mainly says that United Nations Security Council expressed a deep concern over the maintenance of peace and security in Ukraine. So here maintenance of peace and security in Ukraine. So it is one of the deep concern of United Nations Security Council. Okay, so here not only this, even Secretary General of this UNSC, he mainly said that we need to come up with a peaceful solution for this Russia-Ukraine conflict. And actually Russia which mainly invaded this Ukraine on 24th February. So from this February onwards, so there is some issues which are mainly going on between this Russia and Ukraine, and Russia which is mainly attacking some important regions of Ukraine as well. So if you are focusing on some important details of this article, it mainly says that, so recently United Nations Security Council which mainly came up with a statement, and this statement says that does not use the terms of war or conflict for Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So only we can recall that all member states, they have undertaken under the Charter of United Nations, and there is one obligation to settle their international disputes by peaceful means. So here this article says that we should not call it in the terms of war and conflict, okay, regarding this Russia invasion of Ukraine. So rather than we can call that all the members of this United Nations Security Council, they have undertaken a charter of this United Nations, and under this charter here, if there is any international disputes are there, means they need to go for peaceful resolution of those issues. And in this context, your General Secretary, he mainly said that this United Nations Security Council, it is a 15-member council which mainly contains 5 permanent members and 10 non-permanent members, okay, and they mainly went for a recent visit to this Russia and Ukraine, and they mainly met with the president of Russia, that is Putin, and as well as president of Ukraine, that is Zelensky, on 26th and 28th April. And if you're talking about further more details, it mainly says that Russia's invasion of Ukraine, it is a violation of territorial integrity and Charter of United Nations. So because of this, here Russia need to end the war for the sake of people of Ukraine, and as well as for the sake of people of entire world. Because of this Russia-Ukraine crisis, again this third world war is in news, right? So because of this, here we need to go for peaceful resolution of this issue. So this is a thing which mainly said in this Charter of United Nations as well. So if we're talking about India for dialogue, so what is the India's response? So a separate Security Council event which mainly hosted by Russia, and for this meeting India stressed on the path of diplomacy and as well as dialogue for the peace in Ukraine. So India also said that yes, we need peace in this Ukraine part. And here India said that we believe that no solution can be arrived by shedding blood and as well as by the cost of the innocent lives. So whenever there is increasing of innocent lives death, and next one is shedding of blood, so there will be no solution. So we need to focus on emphasizing the right from the beginning of conflict and the path of this diplomacy, and dialogue should be a viable option. So we can go for path of diplomacy and as well as dialogue here between this Ukraine and as well as Russia. So in this way we can be having some peace in the world. So if we're talking about some facts regarding this United Nations Security Council, it mainly established by UN Charter of 1945, and it is one of the 6 principal organs of United Nations. And other 5 organs of United Nations, they were, the first one is United Nations General Assembly, second one is Trusteeship Council, and third one is Economic and Social Council, and fourth one is ICJ, International Court of Justice, and next one is the Secretariat. And what is the prime responsibility of this United Nations Security Council? It is to maintain international peace and security. So if we're talking about members, there are 15 members. Out of this, 5 are permanent members and 10 are non-permanent members. And those P5 countries are US, Russia, UK, China, and as well as France. So if we're talking about India for the 8th time, which mainly selected as or elected as non-permanent member. So if we're talking about one important thing you need to know about these G4 countries and as well as coffee club countries of this United Nations Security Council. So India mainly focusing on, yes, we need reforms for this United Nations Security Council, and India wants to become the permanent member of this United Nations Security Council. So what are the reasons which mainly support this argument for India need to get permanent membership in this United Nations Security Council? As you all know, India is the world's largest democracy, and India is also one of the world major contributor for this United Nations peacekeeping forces. And as well as India is one of the oldest and grand civilizational powers that mainly diverses the status. Okay, so we are having oldest and as well as grand civilization powers. And next one is India is a secular and responsible for the fast growing power as well nowadays. And apart from that, India is underrepresented in this United Nations Security Council, and India will get veto power, and that will help to bring a part of global decision making as well. And if you're talking about this United Nations Security Council, so the members, they are mainly going for recognition of new world order. So these are some important things that you have to know regarding this topic. Now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding tough ant eaters leaves forest officials. So here in this image on the screen you can see one ant eater, that is also called as pangolin, is seen in use. So this article is important from your environment and ecology, which mainly comes under your GS paper 3, and this topic is important from your mains point of view. So if you say context, it mainly says that after rescue, so actually this ant-eater pangolin had been rescued from Ranthambore Tiger Reserve. Okay, so let me know where is this Ranthambore Tiger Reserve is located. And now after once rescuing of this pangolin from this Ranthambore Tiger Reserve, and now they are getting some enough time mainly, okay, or tough time, especially for the forest officials in this Naghargarh Biological Park in Jaipur in captivity. And after once it is rescued, it is mainly sent to this captivity center that is located in Jaipur. So if you're talking about some important facts regarding this pangolin, so if you see this infography, you will be getting much knowledge regarding this pangolin. So pangolin, it is one of the most trafficked mammal in the world. Okay, in the world, it is one of the most trafficked mammal. So because of this scales, so you can see some scales are present, right? So these scales are having medicinal value and they are having some internationally very good market and good demand. Especially Chinese, they will be using the scales in the traditional medicine system, okay, of China. And next one is, so this anteater will also consume about 70 million ants per year. And pangolins, they have no teeth, okay, they will be using their tongue to catch these insects and as well as ants. Okay, so if you're talking about the length of the tongue, which is more compared to that of this body, so the tongue of this pangolin is very long. And the animal which mainly marks its territories with urine and as well as feces and sunny secretion, some sticky secretion, okay. So by using all these things here, so it is mainly marking its territory, okay, where it should live, everything. And if you're talking about baby pangolins, they were mainly carried on their mother's back and tail. And if you're talking about these scales, what I said, so these scales, they are mainly made up of keratin like human cells, okay, and as well as hair, okay, but these are having much demand in the international market. So if you are talking about some facts regarding this pangolins, so pangolins, they are scaly anteaters mammals, and they are large, and they are having a very protective keratin scales, and it will be covering their skin here. So if you're talking about some important features of this mammal, so here they are having the scales or armors. Armors will be very much helpful in defending themselves or protecting themselves by rolling into a ball when it is threatened. So when it thoughts that there is some danger, means what happens, so it is mainly rolling into a ball like structure by using of those scales. And if you're talking about diet of these anteaters, they are insectivores. That means they may depend upon the insect for their diet. And if you're talking about topics, there are types, okay, for example, if you're talking about these types, and one important question I have to give you is whether it is seen in tropical region or temperate region. So please let me know whether they are found in this tropical region or temperate region. So this is your question, because in some areas we are having good number of this pangolins, but in some areas we don't have, and even they are having some threats regarding their reduction of habitat, destruction of habitat, and even there is illegal poaching is happening regarding these pangolins because of their high market value. So if you're talking about types, there are about 8 species of pangolin are present. For example, Indian pangolin, Chinese pangolin, they are found in India. And if you're talking about differences here, Indian pangolin is a large anteater, and it mainly covers about 11 to 13 rows of scales on the back. And a typical scale is also present on the lower side of the tail of Indian pangolin, but this type of scale which is mainly absent in Chinese pangolin. So these are some important differences between this Chinese and as well as Indian pangolin, and some facts regarding this pangolin. So if we're talking about Indian pangolin, they are mainly widely distributed in India, and they are mainly seen in this normally it is mainly seen in hot regions, and even we can see in the low temperatures as well. Even in the high Himalayas we can see, actually they are mainly seen in some rocky caves like thing, okay. And if you're talking about this pangolin, they are also seen in the northeastern region, and there are some species which are also found in Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, and as well as Sri Lanka. So these are some important facts that you have to know regarding this topic, and you have to also know what are the threats for this pangolin. So it is also very important. So these are some important things that you need to remember regarding this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. Title says Karnataka notifies 3.3 lakh hectares as deemed forest. So why we need to talk about this topic? Because there is a one keyword, that is deemed forest, so we need to know about that. So apart from that, so before also Karnataka came up with some survey, and it notified more than 6 lakh hectares as deemed forest. But now again the survey made, so this survey rectified some of the defects in that, and finally now it said that there are 33.3 lakh hectares as deemed forest. So now let us try to discuss this topic with the earlier data also, then you will be getting a clear-cut picture of this topic. So this topic is important from your GS paper 3 under environment and ecology. So if you see context, it mainly says that Karnataka government notified 3.3 lakh 3.3 lakh hectares of deemed forest. So if you see details, it mainly says that it mainly came up with releasing copies of notification in Udupi, okay, and Karnataka Minister for Forest, Food and Civil Supplies, he said that whatever the earlier expert committee, it mainly identified that about 9.94 lakh hectares as deemed forest, and in this 9.94 lakh hectares, it also include farmlands, it also include revenue lands here. And finally again one committee reconstituted, and now it said that 3.3 lakh hectares as deemed forest. And now let us try to see what is this deemed forest. So this deemed forest, which mainly comprises of 1% of India's forest land. So out of 100% of India's forest land, so 1% of land which is called as a deemed forest. And this deemed forest, it is a controversial subject actually, because they refers to the land tracts that appear to be forest but have not been notified so far by the government or any historical records that it is a forest. So these are the areas which mainly comes under this deemed forest. And the concept of this deemed forest, which has not even been clearly defined in the law, that is for FCA 1980, that is Forest Conservation Act of 1980 also. So they didn't clearly explain about this deemed forest. And one important famous case here is T.N. Godavarman Trimulant case of 1996. So in this case, Supreme Court accepted a wide definition of forest under the Act, okay, and they said that forest must be understood according to the dictionary meaning. So in this case, Supreme Court said that so forest must be understood according to the dictionary meaning. So apart from that, so this description which mainly covers all recognized forest, okay. And if you're talking about some provisions for the conservation of forest and the matters related especially to the forest, irrespective of ownership or classification. So whatever the provision under this section 2, so class 1 of this act, okay, it mainly says that there are some provisions for the conservation of forest and as well as some matters connected to there within that applies clearly to all forest irrespective of ownership or classification. And if you are talking about deemed forest in Karnataka, actually an expert committee which mainly constituted by the state, which mainly identified deemed forest as land which is having a characteristic of forest irrespective of ownership. So irrespective of ownership, if there is any land which is mainly appearing as a forest or which is having characteristic of forest, that will comes under this deemed forest. So apart from that, thickly wooded areas of revenue department not handed over to the forest department, they will also comes under this deemed forest. And next one is thickly wooded for areas recommended to be handed over for forest department, they will be also coming under this. And thickly wooded land distributed to grantees but not cultivated, they will be also comes under this. And thickly wooded plantations of forest department, they will be also comes under this deemed forest. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding North Korea fired missile. So this article is important from your international relations, which mainly comes under your GS paper 2. So North Korea fired missile from submarine. Okay, so this is a thing which mainly said by Seoul. Seoul is nothing but capital city of South Korea. So you have to see the location of this Korean peninsula. So here we have China and here this part will be Russia, right? Here this is China, here we have North Korea, here we have South Korea. Okay, so here we have one line or boundary, that is demilitarization zone is present between this North Korea and South Korea. So it is North Korea which is sharing boundary with this China, Russia and South Korea. You have to remember this location. So please open your atlas and try to see the map location of this North Korea and South Korea. So this will be very important, and you have to see the nearby water bodies as well. So in this way you can expect a prelims based questions from this topic. So now let us try to see context. Okay, so if you see context, it mainly says that North Korea fired a submarine, okay, launched ballistic missile. So ballistic missile which is mainly having a submarine which had been fired, and it is the second missile launch in 3 days after US warned North Korea could be preparing for nuclear test. So recently USA, which mainly warmed this North Korea. Okay, North Korea, which is not supported by USA. USA is supporting this South Korea. Okay, so this is one important fact you have to remember. So North Korea, which mainly fired submarine launched ballistic missile on Saturday, and in this context, South Korea said that it is the second missile launch in the 3 days after United States warned Pyongyang, okay, that is North Korea, that could be preparing for a nuclear test. And if you're talking about details, it mainly says that here North Korea has dramatically ramped up. That means it increased missile launches this year, and it mainly conducting like 15 weapon tests since January. Since January 2022, it mainly came up with testing of 15 weapon tests. Okay, and it also came up with firing of intercontinental ballistic missile as well. So here there are many satellite images. They mainly indicate that North Korea may also be preparing to resume nuclear testing. So it is also been preparing to start this nuclear testing with the US State Department on Friday, which mainly warned a test could come as early as this month. So here USA also warned this North Korea regarding this nuclear testing. And actually the missile which mainly is fired now, it had flew 600 kilometers and maximum altitude here is 60 kilometers. Okay, and after once it fired, so it mainly landed outside this exclusive economic zone of Japan. Okay, so this is the thing which mainly said. And now let's try to see next topic. It is regarding La Nina. So is La Nina a fair weather friend of our country or not? So here we are not going to discuss much. So we are going to focus on what is this La Nina and what is this El Nino. El Nino and La Nina phenomena, they are regarding our Indian monsoon. So if you open your 11th and 12th class NCERT, okay, there if you come across this monsoon chapter, you will be coming across this El Nino and as well as La Nina. So regarding this El Nino and La Nina, I discussed detailedly in our geography class as well. So if you are very much weak in the geography, so please try to take the geography classes. There I dealt detailedly. So even when you see our Rathod Science Academy website, there if you click for the demo videos for Indian geography, so I also released one video regarding the what are the factors that are mainly responsible for the Indian monsoons in detail. So if you watch that video, then you will be getting some clarity regarding so what are the factors which are responsible for our Indian monsoons. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So this will be important from your GS paper 1 under geography. So if you are talking about context, it mainly says that in most years, meteorologists, they consider that the La Nina to be a friend of India, and whatever the phenomena that mainly associated with below normal sea surface temperature in the eastern and the central Pacific Ocean, which makes the summer monsoon okay wetter and winter cold air unlikely, it will twin the El Nino or warming phenomena that frequently dries up monsoons rains over India. So to understand this statement, you have to draw the map. So here India located. For example, let us see here we have India and this is Australia, okay, and this is South America. So this is South America, this is Australia, and this is location of India, and equator which is mainly passes like this, right? And here in India we can see Tropic of Cancer, that is 23.5 degree north, which is mainly moving here, and here 23.5 south, that is Tropic of Capricorn, which is mainly dividing Australia into two equal parts. So this is one important prelims question. Okay, so this is the location and these are the some latitudes which are mainly passing here, right? So what happened here means, so this will be our Pacific Ocean. Let me change the pen. So this is our Pacific Ocean. So this is East Pacific Ocean and this is the, for example, let us say this is the West Pacific Ocean. So here normal conditions, in normal monsoons, actually you know that IT season which is mainly moving towards northward in summer season. So here we can see low pressure area which is mainly created, and here also in the Western Pacific Ocean part, okay, so we have low pressure here created, but in the South American coast we have high pressure. So actually you know that according to this PGF, pressure gradient forces, so wind always move from high pressure to low pressure. So whenever wind which is mainly moving in this direction, So whenever they are crossing this equator, because the low pressure which is present here, right, so they are moving, they are mainly having reversal of winds, and they are mainly bringing some good monsoonal rains for India. So this is the normal condition. And what happened, okay, in El Nino means, so instead of high pressure here in the South America, we have low pressure here, and we will be seeing high pressure which is mainly formed in this Western Pacific Ocean part. So here winds, rather than coming this side, they will be moving this side, and that will be having some impact on the Indian monsoons. Okay, so this is the phenomena of La Nina and as well as El Nino. So now let us try to see some important details which are given in this topic. So if you see details, it mainly says that, so this year the La Nina is being blamed for worsening perhaps the longest spell of heat waves from March to April. And this article says that now we are facing heat waves. So one important reason for this heat wave here is La Nina, that is between March to April in the north and as well as west and central India. So because of this is in news. And if you are talking about La Nina means the little girl in Spanish. It is also sometimes called as El Vigio, okay, or anti-El Nino, or simply a cold event, and this is very much favorable for Indian monsoon. So La Nina events represents the periods of being below average sea surface level temperature across this east central equatorial Pacific region. So because of this, what happened, it mainly indicated that sea surface temperature which mainly decreased by more than 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 5 successive 3-month seasons. Okay, so this is about this La Nina. So whatever the thing I explained, so please remember that concept and try to draw this diagram, then this will be done and your job will be done regarding this El Nino and as well as La Nina. So what are the conditions which are mainly favorable for this La Nina? So here what happened, La Nina which mainly caused by build up of cooler than normal waters in the tropical Pacific region and the area of this Pacific Ocean between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. So here we have 23.5 degree north and here we have 23.5 degree south. This is Tropic of Cancer, this is Tropic of Capricorn. So whatever the region that is present, especially Pacific Ocean which is present, this Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn here. So La Nina which mainly caused by the cooler than the normal waters in this tropical Pacific region, and La Nina is also characterized by lower than normal air pressure over this Western Pacific region. That means we need to have low pressure area in this Western Pacific region, and La Nina events are also associated with the rainer than normal conditions. So it will be having a good monsoon in India. And if you're talking about La Nina, it also characterized by higher than normal pressure over this central and as well as eastern Pacific. So here it is the western part, this is the eastern part. In eastern parts we will be having higher pressure and western parts we will be having lower pressure. And because of this, in the eastern part and this central Pacific Ocean, so it is having high pressure. So they are mainly having decreased amount of this cloud production and there is low rainfall in this region. So because of this, we will be having this South America, Gulf Coast of United States, Pampas region, they will be very drier. And if you're talking about impact of La Nina, we need to talk about impact on Europe, impact on North America, impact on Australia and India. So if we're talking about Europe, in El Nino which mainly reduces the number of autumnal hurricanes, and La Nina which leads to mild winters in the northern Europe and colder winters in the southern and as well as western Europe, and it will also lead to snow in the Mediterranean region. And if you're talking about North America, it is a North continental America which is the most of these conditions are felt, okay, and they're having stronger winds in the equatorial region, and there are some favorable conditions for the formation of hurricanes in the Caribbean and Central Atlantic regions, and that will also leads to greater instance of these tornadoes in USA as well. And if you're talking about South America, so La Nina will leads to drought like condition in the South America. So and also it will be leading to the good fishing industry, because whenever there is a low pressure, whenever, for example, let us take this is the South American coast. Here normally we can see high pressure will be seen in this La Nina. So because of this, here we can see cold water will be accumulated. So there is upwelling of cold water which mainly happening. So because of this, this area will have good nutrient resources, and it will be becoming the best fishing ground, or it will be helpful for fishing industry in this western South American region. And if you are talking about Western Pacific region, so La Nina, which mainly increases the potential of landfall in those areas, and here there is a very high rainfall that is mainly seen here. It also leads to floods in Australia as well. Okay, and even it is a good for India for good monsoons. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding meat substitute. So this article is important from your GS paper 3 under environment and ecology. So if you see context, it mainly says that replacing just 1/5 of global beef consumption. So whenever you are replacing just 1/5 of this global beef consumption with a meat substitute, and within 30 days, so we could decrease this half amount, that is 50% of deforestation across the globe, and even that will help to reducing of this carbon dioxide emissions also associated. So whenever there is decreasing of deforestation, means automatically we can increase this carbon sinks as well. So because of this, we can also reduce this carbon emissions. So this is according to one study. So if you see some details, it mainly says that researchers, they mainly came up with the models. So this models mainly focusing on effects of swapping beef with a fungus based meat. So they noticed that it mainly replaces 80% of the beef with a mycoprotein that would mainly eliminate 90% of the forest loss. So because of this, it will be having a positive impact on our environment as well. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding porcine virus. So you can get a question like, recently this porcine virus is seen in news, what it is related to. So in this way also you can expect a prelims question. So this article is important from your GS paper 3 under science and technology. Here we need to talk about organ transplant. So why organ transplant? Why this organ transplant is in news? So recently one American guy, he mainly had a GM modified, that is genetically modified pig transplant, right? So actually this person, he not yet survived, he died. So in January, a person in United States, he became the first recipient of pig heart transplant. And later on, after 2 months, this person died. So doctors, they mainly say that in this genetically edited pig heart, they carried porcine virus. Okay, it mainly carrying this porcine virus. So this porcine virus could have contributed to this deaths, because this porcine virus can have the potential to damage the heart as well. So this is about this topic. And now let us try to see yesterday's questions. The first one is Atacama Desert. Atacama Desert is one of the driest deserts of the world. So apart from the other reasons, they are particular current which mainly made it driest. Okay, so whenever it is driest means we will be having a cold current. So if you see the location, it is mainly seen here, right? Okay, so this is South America. Here we can see this Atacama Desert. So here we have Chile. Okay, so here we have Peru-Chile current or Peruvian current or Humboldt current. It is a cold current that is mainly responsible for this driest desert, that is Atacama Desert. So that answer is 3, Peruvian current. And next one is Frank Joseph Land of Russia makes the northernmost limit of summer vegetation in tundra climate. So what is the precipitation that occurs in this region which mainly supports this vegetation? That is frontal precipitation. So actually in this temperate region we can see warm front and the cold front. They are also responsible for the bringing of rainfall. So here we can see in this region frontal precipitation which is mainly happening. And next here we need to see the today's questions. So first question is regarding direct democracy tools. So you have to read this 4 things like plebiscite, referendum, recall, initiative, and you have to see which of the following comes under this direct democracy. And next question is regarding preamble of our Indian Constitution. So try to read these 4 statements and let me know the correct option for this 2 questions in the comment box. And now let us try to see a small announcement. So we Rathod IAS came up with this mains answer writing practice. So this course, it is absolutely beneficial, and we are providing weekly syllabus what you have to read in that week, and we will be giving you daily 1 question based on that syllabus, and there will be detailed evaluation of your answer like that. Okay, so if you have any queries, so please call us on this number 8074765513. And as you all know, prelims and interview will not be there in our hands, but only thing which is present in our hands is means. So if you are excelling in this means answer writing skills means pakka, and for 100% I can say that you can clear this UPSC for sure. So you have to focus on this means answer writing practice. And next one here is we are launching this foundational course under this pen drive. So it is a pen drive course of foundational course for UPSC CSC 2023. It is regarding your general studies foundational course, and this course is absolutely beneficial. The cost here is just 60,000 rupees and the validity here is 2 years. And if you purchase this course, we will be providing you prelims test series of 1 year and mains improvement course of 1 year. Okay, so this will be very useful, and try to take this course. And apart from that, if you want to take the individual module like only history, only geography, only ethics, only economy, so you can also take this individual courses. So these are very useful, okay, because you have to follow the trends of UPSC. So UPSC is not asking now facts based questions. It started asking some analytical based questions. To answer those questions, conceptual clarity is very important. Without conceptual clarity, you are not going to clear your prelims, mains and your interview. So these courses are very helpful, so try to join these courses. And you can visit this website, that is rathodscienceacademy.com, especially to have some demo videos. And if you have any doubt, you can call me on this number 8074765513. This is a WhatsApp number as well. And you can also text me on this WhatsApp number. And if you want to get this PDF of this class, so please join the Telegram channel. Link is given in description box. So now let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper PDF. So this is our today's Hindu date is May 8th, right? And this is Delhi edition. Whatever the thing or whatever the paper that you can see on the screen is Delhi edition. So first regarding this United Nations Security Council, we had our discussion. And next topic is regarding sedition law. So you have to see here regarding this sedition, that is IPC section 124A. And if you move forward, you can see one more article regarding this pangolins. I discussed this topic. And try to leave this page. There is nothing much important. And if you are from this state of Haryana, you have to know about this PAL software, that is personalized and adaptive learning software. So what is this e-Adhigam? Okay, so if you are from Haryana, this is very important for your state service examination as well. And next, if you see this states page, you can see national education policy gives freedom of choice for skill development. So here you have to know about, so what is this national education policy, and you have to focus how it mainly gives a freedom of choice for the skill development. And if you move further, in the 6th page you can see float by a watered street, take in lakeside life. So here this article which is mainly talking about what happened, the channels that form part of watered street in this Rathod Kottayam. So actually they are coming up with this connecting of 15 canals and as well as 3 rivers. That will be very helpful. And next one is cyclonic storm likely to curve away from Odisha. So here there was one prediction that we are going to have cyclones. So it is according to the data of this IMD. So now this article says that yes, now this cyclonic storm which is likely to curve away from Odisha. And next important article here is Karnataka notifies 3.3 lakh hectares as deemed forest. So we discussed this topic. And if you move forward, here you can see future wars will employ indigenous weapons. So this article is important from your defense point of view, which mainly comes in the GS paper 3. So please try to refer this article once. And next topic is regarding COVID-19 induced breaks upset the rhythms of tribal dances in Odisha. So in Odisha, it is a home for a number of tribes, and actually you can add this article as a case study as a case study whenever you're writing essay or any means answer that. So COVID-19 impact on this tribal people as well. And if you move forward in the world page, here Taliban, they order Afghan women to cover fully. So this is very important. Okay, so here they mainly says that all covering blue burqa ideal, dress code violations to attract slew of punishment. If there is any violations means you are mainly attract some punishments as well. And if you move forward, North Korea fired this missile from the submarine. So I discussed this topic. And next article, it is regarding Omicron severe in virus naive unvaccinated people. So if you are talking about this Omicron, so Omicron, it is a new variant that we know, right? So because of this Omicron, that led to large number of cases which are mainly transmitting. So the study which mainly says that especially the people who had not taken vaccines, this unvaccinated people, so in this unvaccinated people, so Omicron which is having severe impact. And regarding this meat substitute, I discussed this topic. I discussed regarding this porcine virus as also, and there is an article regarding this lanina. I discussed this topic. And there are some important articles regarding this BA4 and as well as BA5 Omicron lineages. Okay, so what happened whenever this virus which is mainly moving from one body to another body, so it is undergoing some mutations. So because of these mutations, we are getting the new variants, and that is leading to increasing of transmissibility of the disease. And in this FAQ page, there is one article regarding this wheat crisis. So this is very important. And next article, it is regarding why are reproductive rights under threat. Okay, it is regarding Roe versus Wade case of USA. So I discussed this topic I think 3 days ago. So these are some important articles that appear in our today's Hindu newspaper. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. So please subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. Thank you so much.